In this video, we are going to explain agricultural reforms in India. During the British time, the tillers of the lands were not its owners. The ownership was the intermediaries, the jamindars, jagirdars, etc. The farmers would farm the land and pay rent to these jamindars. But after independence, the government realized that the agriculture output was not sufficient for the whole country. One way to boost the produce was to make the tillers of the land its owner, and so efforts were made to abolish the intermediaries, and this was known as the land reforms. What are the objectives of land reforms? The main objective was to bring systematic and complete changes to the agrarian structure of the country. The other main objective was to abolish the intermediaries of the semi-feudal landlordism system of India. That is, to get rid of the jamindars. Next, to bring about equity in economy and society and ensure social justice for the past atrocities towards farmers. Next, the land reforms would also prevent any exploitation of the tenant farmers by the hands of the landlords. Finally, to motivate these farmers and implement practices to increase agricultural output. Now, what are the steps of land reforms in India? The government of India introduced a number of land reform measures. These are abolition of intermediaries, uh, Jamindari system gave immense powers to the Jamindars to exploit peasants in a variety of ways. Therefore, on the eve of independence, there was extreme resentment against this system. Consequently, the first land reform measure introduced in post-independence period pertained to the abolition of Jamindari. However, most observers agree that because of important loopholes in the legislation, many jamindars have been able to evade laws and continue to control large areas of land. Next is tenancy reforms. These reforms consisted of three measures. Number one, regulation of rent. In the pre-independence period, the rents charged by the jamindars from the tenants was very high. The British government was merely interested in its share and consequently gave unlimited powers of suppression to the Jamindars to squeeze the tenants. To tackle this problem, legislations were enacted after 1947 to regulate the limits of rents and reduce the burden of tenants. However, legislation fixing maximum limit of rent have been violated because of the strong socio-economic and political hold of the landowners in the rural areas. Next, security of tenure. The meaning of security of tenure is that as long as the tenant pays rent on time, he should not be thrown out of the land. Moreover, if the Jamindars acquire land for personal cultivation, it should be ensured that a certain minimum area of land is left with the tenant. Next is ownership right for tenant. It was repeatedly emphasized in plan documents that ownership rights should be conferred to the tenants. That is, this should be made the owners of the land they cultivate. Accordingly, some states passed legislations to confer right of ownership on tenants. Third, steps reorganization of agriculture. Reorganization of agriculture includes these three measures. Number one, redistribution of land by imposing land ceiling. For the purpose of redistribution of land, the government of different states passed laws fixing ceiling on land holdings. The purpose of ceiling laws has been to take away land in excess of prescribed ceilings from the landlords and distribute it among landless laborers. Next is consolidation of landholding. In India, there is a problem of subdivision and fragmentation of landholding. With the passing of each generation, the landholding gets divided among the children. This is known as the problem of subdivision. Another problem is of fragmentation. A farmer generally has small landholdings split in various segments, one segment in one part of the village, second in another part, and third in still another part. This is the problem of fragmentation. To tackle the problem of fragmentation, the policy of consolidation is adopted. Under this policy, a farmer is given one consolidated landholdings equal in area to all his split landholdings. Next, measures of reorganization of agriculture is cooperative farming. Cooperative farming aims to tackle the problem arising out of subdivision of landholdings. In this case, farmers having very small landholdings join hands and pool their lands for the purpose of cultivation. Next is Green Revolution. The Green Revolution started in 1965 with the first introduction of high yielding variety seeds, HYV seeds. in Indian agriculture. The end result of Green Revolution was to make India self-sufficient when it came to food grains. The features of Green Revolution. In Green Revolution, the first stage you find introduction of high yielding variety of seeds for production, proper irrigation, that is proper irrigation is needed when farmers using HYB seeds, such as adequate water supply is needed. The emphasis of the plan was mostly on food grains, that is rice and wheat. So in the initial stage, the Green Revolution is given importance to the production of rice and wheat only. Use of fertilizers results in better productivity. Use of pesticides and weedicides, it protects the crops. Introduction of technology and machinery. So by using tractors, harvesters, threshers, and other machineries in agriculture sectors enhances the production. Actually, these are the outcome of agricultural reforms. Marketed surplus. What is marketed surplus? The portion of agricultural produce which is sold in the market by the farmers. Buffer stock. Due to Green Revolution, government procured sufficient amount of food grains to build a stock which could be used in times of food shortage. What government purchases the food grains from the farmers and procure them in stock, and these food grains released during the food shortage or during the lean season. Now, these are the questions given to you from this video. You try to answer these questions and get ready for the board. Thank you.